In a recent study in conjunction with the Crayola experience, researchers examined the dilemmas facing parents. There are some interesting findings. 67% of dads worry about missing special events with their children. 78% wish they had more time to spend with their kids. 40% admit they've already missed at least one important milestone in their child's life. And 82% feel their children are simply growing up too quickly. Even when dads do spend time with their kids, 78% of those children say their parent isn't fully engaged when they're supposed to be spending time together. And 26% say that's true all the time. So here's the paradox. It seems the research suggests that dads want to spend time with their kids and feel regret when they don't, yet also struggle to find the time and to prioritize family. That tension is real. I get it. I've been there. So what we're doing today is we're digging into this fact of time management. Fatherhood is a beautiful and rewarding adventure, but to say it is also difficult is an epic understatement. As a parent of 3 young adult children, 2 sons and a daughter, I've walked through countless experiences with them. Let's see if you can identify. From sleepless nights and messy diapers to T-ball, Boy Scouts, dance recitals, and bedtime prayers, we've weathered good and bad friendships, sleepovers, illnesses, ER visits, acne, braces, cheerleading, church involvement, basketball games, the crazy teenage years, dating, breakups, college decisions, and most recently, marriage and grandkids. I've experienced profound pride and joy with my kids, as well as frustrations, disappointments, stubborn resistance, times I didn't know how they would turn out. Simultaneously, I balanced building a career, juggling 2 jobs for years, while seeking to maintain my marriage, nurture friendships, and discover meaning within all those challenges. At times, the weight of it all felt overwhelming. Here are some truths that might reflect your experience right now as a dad. You're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and constantly busy. Many aspects of life seem beyond your control. It seems like the most important things in life are getting the least attention. You're facing pressure at work to perform, earn money, and satisfy others. You feel a deep sense of responsibility for your family's well-being. You're exhausted and at times even weary. You're searching for meaning and significance and worry about potential regrets at the end of your life, all while trying to remain strong before your family. Despite all of that, here's the good news. According to a 2023 Pew Research Center article, 85% of dads say being a parent is the most or one of the most important aspects of who they are as a person. The research says dads want to be good fathers. They define who they are by fatherhood, and they care about the kinds of kids they raise. And this is where being an intentional dad comes in. 91% of all father-child bonding will occur within the first 12 years of a child's life. Now think about that, 91% within the first 12 years. So for dads whose families are important to them and who recognize the years go quickly, yet struggle with time and stress, the message is you have to be intentional. It's not about doing more, it's about choosing better. And that's what I want to help you with in this podcast today. Despite your current feelings and circumstances, I encourage you to take a deep breath and embrace this idea. You have the power to regain control and transform your busyness into purpose and meaning. You know, we think that busyness is a result of the times that we live in, a modern problem. The truth is that the challenges of managing time are not a new problem. It's been around for centuries. Ancient writers recognized that time is a finite resource that should be managed wisely. Psalm 90, the oldest psalm in the Hebrew scripture, dating back to the time of Moses, reflects on the brevity of life and the need for wisdom in how we spend it. Here's what it says. The years of our life are 70, or even by reason of strength, 80. Yet their span is but toil and trouble. They are soon gone, and we fly away. So God, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Fast forward 1600 years to the Roman playwright Plautus in the 2nd century, who literally cursed the invention of the sundial for cutting and hacking his days into small portions. And then just 1 century ago, Quaker missionary and educator Thomas Kelly wrote this: "Over the margins of life comes a whisper, a faint call, a premonition of richer living which we know is passing by. Strained by the very mad pace of our daily burdens, we are further strained by an inward uneasiness, because we have hints that there is a way of life vastly richer and deeper than all this hurried existence, a life of unhurried serenity, peace, and power." That kind of serenity sounds like a place called home, doesn't it? So history suggests that hurriedness is not merely a product of our fast-paced, technology-driven world. The issue runs deeper. This actually appears to be a part of human nature. In other words, there's something in all of us that creates this stress. Let me share with you 3 undeniable laws about time and human nature. The first is the law of perpetual projects. In other words, there always seems to be something more to do. This constant sense that there is always something hanging over our heads often leads to burnout. The second is the law of competing choices. Life offers us a multitude of choices, and frequently the decisions about how to spend our time involve selecting between several good options rather than just choosing between good and bad. Here's what I mean. Did you know that the average grocery store carries about 130 different types of cereal? Choices. Do you ever find yourself looking at a closet full of clothes and still having trouble deciding what to wear? Sure. The sheer number of choices can be overwhelming and in itself be a source of stress. And then the third law is the law of the squeaky wheel. The most noticeable, vocal, or most pressing problems are the ones that receive attention first. In other words, the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the grease. This concept was best summarized by Charles Hummel in 1967 with the phrase, "the tyranny of the urgent." You've probably heard that before. His principle emphasized that we often make decisions about how to spend our time based on what feels urgent. However, what we have to remember is that not everything that is urgent is important. Not everything that is urgent is worthwhile. If you've never read Stephen Covey's classic work, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I highly recommend it. Like Hummel, Covey addresses the issue of the tyranny of the urgent through his time management matrix. He categorizes tasks into 4 quadrants. One axis being the range between important tasks versus not important, and the other axis being between those things that are urgent versus not urgent. While many people focus on tasks in quadrant 1, the urgent and important, because they seem pressing, he says living predominantly in quadrant 1 does not lead to a fulfilling and purposeful life. Instead, Covey argues that life is best lived in quadrant 2, things that are important but not yet urgent. Here are the ideas of preparation, planning, time in key relationships, self-improvement, recreation, and rest. All these reside in quadrant 2. Your children live in quadrant 2. If you don't live from that place, the urgent, the squeaky wheel, will always crowd them out. Now, there are some valid reasons why time gets away from us, but there are also invalid excuses. Here's one I hear a lot. My boss, my job demand my time, and I don't have control of it. Okay, maybe, but let's think about that. I once had an executive tell me that he got offered a job promotion and pay increase, but it would cause his family to move far away and uproot their teenage daughter her sophomore year of high school. This after they had already moved and changed cities 3 times in her life. This man's presumption was this: it's a promotion and more pay. Of course I'll accept it. I have to. My response to him was, so you make really good money already. What's so important about a promotion? Why is more money so necessary? He had a puzzled look on his face. Listen, living according to your most cherished values means challenging the assumptions of our culture. Remember, no one can pressure you without your permission. Let me say that again. No one can pressure you without your permission. You are not a victim. Ultimately, whether you believe this or not, whether you like to hear it or not, what you do with your life is your choice. No job is so important that it should force you to live incongruently with your values. I mean, change jobs, which might mean downsizing your home, driving a used car, whatever you have to do to align your life with your priorities. Maybe it means making a 2-year exit plan. You go back to school, you get other training, whatever it takes. Life is short, and the life that you're living right now, listen, that is your life. It's going by. Catch it. Take control of it before it's gone. That's why I say the most courageous thing a person can do in life is to live according to their values. Yes, it's hard, but it is possible, and you have the power to make it happen. Here's the critical distinction. The entire concept of time management is really a misnomer. We cannot manage time. We can only manage ourselves in relation to it. We cannot control how much time we have. We can only manage how we spend it. We cannot choose whether to spend it. Time is the only resource that must be spent the instant it is received. So we can't choose whether to spend it. It will be spent. We can only choose how we spend it. So here it is. Here's the truth. Time management equals self-management. That's what it is. It's about that thing none of us like, self-control. Your primary enemy does not lie out there somewhere. In fact, to say the problem is out there is the problem. Your true adversary lies within. It's your choices. It takes courage and determination to change your choices. Have you heard of the law of inertia? I'm sure you have, maybe a long time ago. Newton's first law of motion states that an object at rest tends to stay at rest, while an object in motion continues in motion unless acted upon by an external force. In the same way, your life will continue as it is unless you become that external force that changes its trajectory. Breaking free from the life you're living right now involves first believing that you can, changing your thoughts, and then doing different things. So here's how. It comes down to 3 things: assess, plan, and act. First, assess. That means clarify your purpose. There's not a dad I know who, when their child is born, says to themselves, I'm not going to give this child my very best. I'm going to give this child leftovers. No. At first, fathers are highly motivated to be the best for their children. But over time, life happens. Careers and financial pursuits set a life in motion. Inertia happens. And then as life becomes more chaotic, we lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing. So before dads can find their way, they must first discover their why. Before you figure out what to do as a dad, you must first figure out why you're doing it in the first place. You've got to clarify your purpose. Why do you exist? Why were you put on this planet? Well, right at the center of that purpose is to be a good father to your child. Decide that your purpose, just behind your faith in your marriage, is to be your child's father friend. You're going to be a father who is present and engaged, who will both lead your child and love them, that you will find the balance between authority and affection, and that you will commit yourself to grow in the purpose of giving what your children need. So proclaim that purpose, write it down, put it somewhere, you'll see it. Why? Because it's easier to say no when there is a deeper yes within. Let me illustrate. My wife and I enjoy having burgers at home. She makes them on the grill, and they're really good. However, there's a place not far from our home called Rodeo Goat. It's a gourmet burger joint that is out of this world. When given the choice between burgers at home or going to Rodeo Goat, the choice is easy. Get in the car. And we love it so much, it's not really even a choice. So the pleasure of eating at Rodeo Goat is the deeper yes within for us. Makes it easier to say no to grilling. By defining your purpose, and then by constantly feeding your joy and passion for your family, you will inherently foster a distaste for anything that rivals your home. Again, make a note of it, write it down, keep it close to your heart. Decide now that you will not sacrifice your family or waste the precious years you have with your children. So the first step, clarify your purpose. Second, plan your purpose. You can't just declare it. You have to plan it. Make a strategy for how you will live it. You know why? Because big dreams without strategic plans are big flops. Here's the strategy. Evaluate yearly, plan monthly, schedule weekly. So every year, spend a full designated day or maybe two free from distractions to journal, read about purpose and family and priorities. And in that time, remind yourself of what's most important in life and evaluate your previous year. Come away from that time with 3 to 5 overarching objectives that reflect your values and priorities. So evaluate yearly, then plan monthly. Every month, with those yearly objectives before you, find a couple of hours to review the past month, how you did, and then set new goals for the month ahead. Evaluate yearly, plan monthly, and finally, every week, I recommend Sunday nights, sit down for 30 minutes and schedule your week. Make appointments with yourself. Make appointments to spend actual time with the people and tasks that align with your values. Put your wife and your kids on the calendar. Send them calendar invites. Don't just think it will happen. It won't. Schedule what's important. Okay, clarify your purpose, plan your purpose, and then third, act. Do different things. Execute. Follow through. With fierce determination, live your purpose. Just do it. But here's what you need to acknowledge from the onset. Living your values, living your purpose will cost you. Many guys going into this think they can just have it all, that they can work the same way they've always worked, that they can hang out with the guys the same way they've always done, that they can pursue a side hustle as well as all this, and then somehow magically still have the family they want to have. That's a lie. You're kidding yourself. In the end, something will suffer, and it will likely be your family who will just get your leftovers. I've seen it before. Some men are just unwilling to sacrifice other less important things. They're just not willing to give them up. I knew a guy who almost lost his marriage because he wouldn't give up playing church softball to be home with his wife and kids. Remember this, sacrifice isn't giving up something that's easy to give up. Sacrifice means giving up something you love for something you love more. So I guess in one sense, you can have it all as long as you know what it is. What's your it? What's your deeper yes? That's the center, the uncompromised value from which all the rest of life flows. Okay, I hear it now because I've said it. Mike, I have to work. I have to spend more time at work than I spend with my family. Well, of course, we all do. We all work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, but we also have nights and weekends. So, do you cut off work when it's time to cut off work? When you're home, are you home? Are you present and engaged when you're there? Don't give excuses. Listen, I know it's not easy, but not easy is what you signed up for as a father. You can do it. As a dad with kids who are grown, I wish I had realized this much more quickly. I wish I'd realized how fast that small window of time with my kids would come and go. I wish I had just enjoyed it more and soaked it in more. Because there's only so much time. Spend it wisely. God, teach us to number our days. Let me finish with a story. There was a professor who came into class one day and put a clear 5-gallon container on the table in front of his class. He set several large rocks on the table and then placed them one at a time into the container. He asked the class, "Is the container full?" "Yes," they said. He then added some medium-sized rocks, then small rocks, then gravel, then sand, then water, all the way to the brim flowing over. And he asked one more time, "Is the container full?" The students said yes. "Yes," said the professor, "the container is full." Now, what is the point of this demonstration? One student guessed, "Well, no matter how full your schedule is, you always have time for more." "No," said the professor. "The lesson here is this. If you don't put the big rocks in first, you'll never get them in at all. Students in your life, put the big rocks in first." What a great lesson. Life has a way of pushing aside what matters most. Without a clear purpose, a specific plan, and courageous action, you'll be swept along by the current of your constant busyness. You'll only survive the days instead of shaping the years. You'll be a victim. Life will direct you rather than you directing your life. The years will slip by and opportunities with your children will come and go. Decide now with grit and fierce determination that you will not let that happen, that you will not fall victim to the mold that life is trying to push you into. Be a man of intention. Be a man of courage. Put first things first. Okay. All that I've shared with you, plus a whole lot more, is contained in a 21-page ebook called Regret-Free Parenting, Time Management for Busy Dads. It contains more insight and encouragement, plus time management worksheets, so you can clarify your purpose, plan your purpose, and then act from purpose. That is, schedule your priorities into your calendar. All this is for free, and all you need to do is go to the homepage at fatherfriend.net and click the Start with a Free Guide button at the top of the page, or just send me an email at mikea@fatherfriend.net, and I'll be happy to send it to you. I hope to hear from you soon. So, Dad, this week, be sure to lean in, lead well, and love big.